it's not one trip wonder. I keep an eye on you.
I don't like raking through the ashes of the past. How cattle can
shite spanners.
27 spanner, but anyway. Trouble if there's an engine and tyres in it, it'll give trouble eventually. You can be sure of it.
Hello everybody, my name is Farmer Phil, and today, as you can see, beside me now, my father is here. We're going to do a little bit of a talk. As you've seen, the video is titled, this is all about Black Saturday, which is something happened many years ago, but quite interesting. Tie it in with the Black Friday cyber sales that's going on this weekend. That's why I said I'd do it. But just on that note, I'd like to give a shout out to my girlfriend's mother and stepfather's business, Tajara.co.uk. They sell Mediterranean inspired homeware and crockery and decor and stuff. Go check them out. Link will be in the description down below to their website, their Facebook, their Instagram. You can head over there, check them out. They have a couple of deals for Black Friday. You never know, you might find something for the missus for Christmas over there and you get that one ticked off the list. So anyways, we'll get into the video now. So what exactly is Black Saturday?
Well, Black Saturday probably was the worst 3 days we ever had in contracting. And every time Black Friday is mentioned in later years, the first thing springs into my mind is this 3 particular days. It happened in 2002 in the month of July, after a very wet start to the silage season. It was very bad weather, there was lots of rain and bad days and very hard to get anything done. Weather picked up on a Wednesday. We started mowing on Thursday. Pit silage, baling, the usual. Nothing done for 3 weeks, and then everything had to be done in 3 days. And we near enough broke everything we had. That's Black Saturday.
Yeah. So what had the Thursday? What happened? I have a rough idea what happened, but I don't know exactly what.
You were only 6. You weren't even 6. You were 5.
Yeah. So I was only a gossin of a gossin.
We had a 3090 Massey mowing.
That was the AB gearbox or the Dynashift?
No, the AB gearbox.
The AB.
Which weren't the best. They're probably the worst. I'm a Massey man at heart, and they were probably the worst tractor that Ferguson ever produced. The engine was perfect, a great engine, but the gearbox was just, oh, dust don't go there. It blew the gearbox. Wouldn't drive in the third field of an 18-acre job we were mowing. And we had to go and get another tractor brought over and pull it out of the way and continue on to finish out the mowing job. On the Friday I was baling silage with the 3690 and a RP 200, which was a bit like a bulldozer mowing a lawn, but she baled at about 1500 revs in a 1000 speed shaft, and it was
at 540.
540. Drive the baler at about 540, 550.
And the tractor was in the 1000 box.
It was in a 1000 speed shaft.
That was a welder baler.
Welder
baler.
RP. Yeah, the baler was only 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And his front pulley came loose on the crankshaft, and we had to pull her up. The splines went on the pulley. So got that thing finished. That was them 2 tractors out of commission. The Saturday morning then there was all the baling that had been mowed for the previous 2 days, plus an 18-acre silage job had to be gathered up. So a nephew of mine came up with a 2640 that he was after buying a few months previous, and he put up one of the balers on his tractor because we were getting a bit scarce in tractors. And the lad I had working for me, he had the 699 and the other RP 200s, and they went off baling. And we put the old 2720 to the 900 harvester. That's what we were cutting at the time. And we went off to pick up the 18-acre silage job.
What were you drawn with then? The 699?
We were drawn in with your uncle was drawn in with a Ford 6710.
Yeah.
And we were pulling the trailers. And we were pushing up with a 298 Massey with a quickie loader and a 7-foot fork on the front of it. But we didn't realise that the 2720 wasn't going so well till we started to lift the silage. With the result, there was absolutely no power in it. Probably was more power in a Ferguson 35. We just couldn't get it to go. We done everything. We checked filters, we rang up the wife and she came over with new filters, and we changed all the filters on the tractor. Still couldn't get it going. And then we picked up a stone and it got stuck between the feed rollers, and we had to get a bar and a sledge and break the stone to get it out between the feed rollers. And we left the house at 9 o'clock. We were to be back at 2 or 3 o'clock with the 18 acres gathered up, because it was a busy evening baling, and I wanted to be back to give the lads a hand in case there was any problems. And they had lots of problems. We kept ahead anyway, and around 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the evening, we were only in the second field. There was only 10 acres in the first one. The tractor completely stopped, and we had to take the unit down out of the tank, which was an awful job on it, to a 2720.
The diesel tank?
Diesel tank.
Had to be taken out.
And a bit of dirt had stuck in the outlet, in the pipe, in the diesel tank. And we got that removed, and then we got going. And we gathered up the silage in no time, flew it. But it was dark when we were finished. Again, it was tea to be drank and different things, and your man had to get a handle covered in the pit anyway. But the lads didn't want to ring me at the time, because they were having lots of trouble. They busted the roller in a Baler around 4 o'clock.
Busted the roller, so
Busted the roller.
The steel roller.
Steel roller split across the ribs in the roller, and the bailed on with it for a while, and then it run a bearing, and it damaged the side of the baler. It was the second roller under the netter. Damaged the whole side.
Damaged the whole thing that holds the bearing.
Bearing had to be all rebuilt back into it. It just pulled it everywhere. So that left them down to one tractor and one baler, and they kept going away. But lucky enough, they rang a local lad, and he came in behind them and started baling along with them. But they were getting on middling enough, I suppose, till we'll finish up the silage harvester first anyway. We got finished up and we started heading for home, just dark. That time of the year it probably was 10:30 or that. We'd been coming on for 11, and on the way home the bloody tractor no diesel. Not the drop of diesel left in it, and we had to go home and get diesel brought back to the tractor and get it blade and get it off the road. And eventually we caught up with the lads where they were baling, and the water pump had decided to pack in on the 699 along with the fan. The fan broke into several bits, didn't damage the radiator lucky enough, but the water pump went on it, and they swapped the baler off, they swapped the balers around on the tractors, and they kept baling with other baler till it broke the shaft in the same roller.
So the same roller that split in the other one broke the shaft.
Broke the shaft in that one. And that left the two balers out of commission. I know it was 3:30 when we got back to the yard Saturday night. It was an awful bad forecast for Sunday. It was to be ferocious wet, and it was. And I think it was probably Thursday the following week before we had everything up and running. But it just, no matter what we done, seemed to break. It was just one of those weekends that things did not go our way. But that's the life of contracting.
Yeah. A tale of woe.
A tale of woe, but we always called it Black Saturday, but it just in later years since this Black Friday, or Black Friday
started this.
I hear that every time I think of that particular weekend. That luck wasn't with us now.
So back then, what was the fleet? The 3090, 3690, 2720, 699, 298.
Yeah, 699.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was roughly what we had at the time.
Was there another tractor? No. Didn't have the 3095.
No, we bought that was in July. We bought the 3095 was bought in August, the next month.
August.
We bought it next month. We bought it straight in the north. The 3095 was a great little tractor.
Yeah, that was the Dynashift gearbox.
Dynashift. It was the first of the Dynashift gearboxes we had. It was a great little tractor. But that was our problems that weekend. Now, the gearbox in the 3090, we brought it home and I fixed it.
What was it? The selector fork broke in it, or was it something else?
The nut came off on that particular time. The nut came off the front of the box.
Yeah.
And it let the whole selector fall asunder on the A-B shift. It was a hydraulic shift in the front of the gearbox. And I put it all back. I put a new nut on it and locked it on the shaft. And then there was two little pins running, the little skates that run in the selector.
Yeah.
And I backed it out of the shed. This probably was a week later or more. And it went forward. And it went back in one range. Then I changed the range into the V range, and it done the same. And then I changed it back into the high range to see that it was all right, and it snapped the two pins, and it stayed in the low box For the rest of the time we had it, because we brought it in and we put it on a diet feeder, and it never done anything else after.
Yeah.
We never brought.
That was always the problem with that gearbox. It kept breaking the selector fork.
There was a fault because when you rattled the stick between A and B, it was flicking the
thing forward and back.
hydraulic change up
So
in the box.
When you
Very
be
hard in itself.
shaking a stick to make sure it's in neutral, that yoke is
That
flicking
was
itself.
flicking up and down in the box.
Yeah.
So it was just a disaster with gearbox. It was a disaster with gearbox, and the electronics wasn't great in the tractors to give lots of trouble. But great little engine, run the diet feeder for 5 years, never was taken off it, and it didn't matter because you were only going tipping around the yard, the low box, so it was perfect. 699, we put a new water pump, and I had to get a new fan for it. The 3690, we put a new hub onto the crankshaft, and it done it again about 6 months later.
It done it again?
Yeah, but
What?
there was the reason why, because on that particular model she was a European 3690 with a 50k box with air brakes. The compressor pulley was an awful overhang on it past the front of the nut, the front of the pulley. It was a way up step forward to get by all the stuff on the side of the engine to get to drive the compressor.
Yeah.
And it was fit to loosen the hub.
And then it started rattling.
I started rattling, so we ended up getting a local engineering firm, or a local engineering man down the road from us, not too far from us, a great man, and he cut 4 squares in another new hub, like 4 keyways, and I took the whole front out of the tractor, and he came up here and he welded 4 keys on the crankshaft.
Yeah.
To match the 4 slots he put in the hub, and we Loctited it and tightened it. It had to be tightened to 1,000 Newton meter. I had to make a tool to tighten it. It was a castle nut.
Yeah.
And you couldn't buy a castle socket.
Yeah.
To make it, and the socket, the nut, and the hub is still in the workshop below.
It's still out there.
Still hanging on the back of the workshop. You want to catch it and how you can show it in the video.
You have to bring me up and show it to me.
It's hanging up on the back of the workshop.
Oh, you took that off the tractor?
I took the old hub off. It just come loose again.
Oh.
So then we put the splines on it, squared out the new hub, put all back, tightened it up. But that was probably the following spring I done that, and it never. We had the tractor for 4 or 5. 2002. We worked the tractor till 2010, and it never came loose after.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant job. The balers, we had to weld a side into one of the balers. We had to buy 2 new rollers. They were quite expensive roller. I think
they were solid rollers, or were they?
No, but they were one with a heavy shaft for it took the drive.
It was the drive one.
The drive one, and they were a good bit dearer than the rest. I think that year in total we bust 11 rollers in the balers. But that was the only time that the 2 of them was broke at the one time. Both the same roller in both balers, but for different reasons.
Was that always a problem with the welders?
Yeah,
I always
rollers,
remember the welders. There was only ever one of them working at a
Well, it
time.
got to the stage where there was only ever one working because there was always a roller or something busting one of them.
Do we ever bust one of the John Deeres?
We never busted. We had 3 John Deere balers in our time. We had a John Deere baler there with nearly 70,000 bales on it, and we never actually put a roller into any of them.
No.
But we put bearings in them all right, but that was running the course, it's just wear. But the first new John Deere, I traded the 2 of them balers in 2005, and I bought 1 brand new John Deere baler 578. It done exactly what it said in the tin. It was just a reliable baler, quick enough. It was fit to do. I think the best hours baler was about 74 or 75 bales in a 10-foot silage swart. It was a good little baler. We traded it after 2 seasons. We bought another new one, and then we bought one with a white pickup. We probably should have bought a Fusion that time. We bought that one, but anyway, hindsight is a great thing.
Yeah.
They were great little balers. They done their job.
And the harvester, the stone didn't do any damage to the harvester?
No, it did. Lucky enough, it had to go in with it broke every knife on the drum.
Yeah.
And that would have really put the tin hat on the day altogether. But it took us over an hour to break the stone out of the.
It had to be smashed out.
It had to be broke out in chips to get it out. It would not come out, no matter what.
Must have been a big stone.
It was half the size of a football.
Jesus Christ! How the fuck did the mowers not?
We don't know. We just don't know. The mower missed it. It must have been sitting. I don't know where it was sitting. I just don't know. It never was. There was no tracks on it when we picked it up, and I never noticed it in the grass. But when we were lifting 16-foot swarts, it was all grouped.
Yeah.
It wasn't an 8-foot swart. If we had been lifting an 8-foot swart, the tractor would have enough power to run an 8-foot swart.
Yeah.
But because we had it in 16-foot squads,
She wasn't able, so it dogged her and it wouldn't have had through then.
Just would not, and the stone just got in and the whole thing stopped, and we skid the belts and we got down and tried to wind it back, and it just would not wind back. No way possible. We ended up with a little crowbar and a sledge, and we had to break the stone in between the feed rollers to get it out. Now, we were well over an hour and a half breaking it out of it.
And just on stones and harvesters, they don't tend to mix.
Not a good combination.
Didn't the 1100 pick up one?
We, in a customer's job, we changed to an 1100 in 2004. Bought a lovely 1100 harvester. We went up to buy the Heron trailer in a dealer's yard in Northern Ireland, and when we were up there was this 1100 Mark II, which was probably only a couple of years old, but it had been an insurance write-off. There was a hammer or something went through it, and it knocked one knife carrier, broke it clean out of the drum. There was only one knife missing, that was the one the carrier was missing on. So it would be fairly handy, we'd fix things up.
As he say himself, put an arse in a cat.
We put an arse in the cat if you could catch the cat. But anyway, we brought it down, we'd done the deal with your man, we traded in our old 900 and we bought the Heron trailer and this 1100 harvester. Oh, it was, panels was as straight as could be, it was absolutely mint.
I can remember going up and looking at the Heron, but I don't have any memory of looking at that.
St. Patrick's Day 2004.
I remember looking at the Heron.
And went up and we bought down the whole lot. I got a scrap harvester, we cut the carrier, the hanger, just a little piece that made the knife sat on, cut it out of a scrapped harvester, and we cut out the damaged hanger out of that harvester, and we welded in the new hanger.
Yeah.
And we put the knife on it and it run perfect. The drum was still in balance, there was nothing wrong with it, and we worked that for 2 years. But the second year, we worked for 3 years, we worked for 2004 or 5, and the first half of 6, and the first half of 6 we picked up, and he mowed through a little pile of stones that had been picked up from a bit of reseeding that was done that year, and they were just piled into a pile of mist, and he run the mower through it and never said that to anybody. And I never knew a thing. We were picking with the 3690, which she had lots of horses under the hood, and we went straight into the pile of stones, and the shear bar came down the side of the trailer and bit 3 bits, and we left one knife on the drum.
Jesus Christ.
But that was the beauty of the JF. When you hit something, it just went right out through it. It didn't go around and damage bellies or didn't do any harm. Put a few nicks in the spout. We went to our local garage and we got well, we thought we'd get a set of knives. We were in the middle of the job, and they were easy fix. That was the only beauty of them. We weren't too far from home. We came home and got there, going and took out all the broken knives, went down to the garage to get the new set of knives, and another contractor that morning had a similar problem, and he had gone with most of their knives and the shear bar. So we contacted him, and between what they had and what he had over, and we had a Midland second-hand shear bar, we got it going for that day, but we put a new shear bar into it the following day when the shear bar came in, and the knives are good enough. It took us a few jobs to get it going again good. It wasn't blowing so good after it, but we got it going, and it wasn't going so bad, and I traded it in for the second-hand. Simple as that.
Yeah.
We got her going well, and she was going well when we saw her, she was going well when we saw her, but that was the joys of hire work.
And then I don't think we'll go near with the time we picked the stone up with the Jag.
Yeah, that was just a different
story. That had sober any man.
That took 4 days in Leinster Farm machines to piece her back together.
Yeah.
At a huge cost.
Yeah.
No offence to Leinster Farm, they've done a great job on it, but it wasn't cheap.
No, and every knife off the drum, cut the belly, just completely gutted itself.
It damaged everything from the knife, from the drum. It didn't damage the shear bar, it was the only thing that had to be replaced. But everything else in the drum had to be replaced, all the cowlings, everything round it, all the liners and the spout, right out even to the flap.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a bit of dust or muck on the harvester, but was on the ground after the bang when she let such a shot.
Yeah.
So.
And that is the joys of contracting.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen on a daily basis, but anyways, touch wood, we've been fairly good the last couple of years.
We've been nothing.
Nothing too major.
We lifted the end of a gate one time with an umbilical pump.
End of a gate with the umbilical pump?
Mm.
Well,
a gate rusted in a man's shed.
Yeah.
and the round bar off the end backside of the gate fell into the shed.
Yeah.
And we sucked it up into the slurry, and the pump kept chopping it. I heard the clatter, and I was just on the point of knocking it off, but everything goes through so quick you just
wouldn't get time.
But the solid end,
Yeah.
it knocked the rotor clean off or the impeller clean off the shaft in the pump.
Jesus. I can remember you were on holidays, was it? And me and Uncle Ian were spreading, and I was doing the pumping and pumping away grand, and next thing, bang, clang, 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 clang. I knocked off the pump, took off the pipe off it. I had a 27 spanner
With no head.
With no head. Head went through the pump and it bust the mechanical seal in the gearbox and let the slurry then into the gearbox.
Yeah, they're not made for them sort of jobs.
No.
Yeah, it's amazing how cattle can
shite spanners.
27 spanner, but anyway, that happened.
Yeah. Well, it's the joys of it. As the title of the video is, Contractors Tale of Woe, and there's many more stories you could tell, but look I can see in the thing there we're at 21 minutes. Sure, we might leave some for next year and do it again, but
we'll have another Black Friday next year.
Yeah.
It's happened this year.
Wasn't this year?
It was this year.
Was it this year?
Yes.
Was it this year? I thought it was last year.
A certain farmer Phil took a fuse out of a tractor and
Oh no, that's
popped it
story.
back into the one beside where he took it out, and then rings Daddy. The tractor won't drive, and Daddy spent 2 hours tricking at the fuse box, seeing what was wrong, because I had it over the week before where there was a broken wire.
Wasn't a broken wire.
It was a broken wire.
Yeah, a broken wire and it had fused itself.
Well, that was a separate thing. It was a broken wire that stopped everything from working. And then he comes and he says, "You're not getting going yet?" And he says, "Yeah." I would say, "What did you actually do?" And he showed me the fuse, and I just put it back to the one beside it, and everything came back perfect. Good man, Phil.
Yeah, we fixed it.
Oh yeah, we fixed it. Yeah, an issue. It's just it's you're learning. You learn every day. You learn mistakes, and you learn things that stick with you, and just.
That's why we have what we have. They're easy enough to fix.
Well, that's why the shed never got cleaned out, because we don't need it that often.
Yeah.
Trouble if there's an engine and tyres in it, it'll give trouble eventually. You can be sure of it.
Anyways, on that note, I think we will leave it at that now. I'll let my father go back out to his own house. And just for ye that said I didn't make him a cup of coffee.
Grand cup of coffee.
Yeah, cup of coffee this time. The last time when we were in his own house, and this time he said he'd come out here and we'd do it here. So now I have to do the job of editing this up. I'm probably trying to make it a bit shorter than 24 minutes. But anyways, go and leave it at that. Caps, I actually have my cap here. Caps, you know where to get them. ebay.com in the description down below. Also Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all that. Everything you need and want to know is in the description down below. Also make sure to check out tajara.co.uk. Their links will be in the description down below as well. I think that is it from us now. I can't think of anything else. Well, I probably could if I had give myself another 5 minutes, but we'll leave it at that anyway. Then we'll save a few stories for the next time. So that is it from us. Good luck.
Goodbye.